Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the latest edition of the Neighborhood Cleanup Streams. So, hope everybody's doing alright today. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of snow all over the place right now. Literally just everywhere. Snow and slush, ladies and gentlemen, so I don't know if I'm going to be quite as productive as I was on my previous days, but I am going to do the best that I can. So I don't think it's possible to do any better than that. But anyways, Proverbs guy says, "Hey Aiden, hey Steven. Hope you're having a decent day so far." I'm just gonna cut to the chase, guys. You saw it on the live stream earlier today. And for anybody out there right now that's thinking that I'm gonna talk a whole bunch of shit on Maud right now, say a whole bunch of bad things about her. Oh, I thought there was some trash over here. Turns out that there is. It's just behind the construction barrier. You know what? I'm sure I can get at that. Get it cleared? Maybe not. Well, I'll leave that then. And they can clean it up themselves, which they definitely will not do once they're finished up with things. Oh, we got a piece of trash over here, though. Anyways, all I have to say regarding what happened today on the live stream is that, Maud, if you are really genuinely at the point in our interpersonal dealings on the internet that you think that every single thing that I do and say to you has some sort of ulterior motive to it, then I'm sorry. I really am. I genuinely am. If there's anything that I have done to contribute to that, including what happened a few weeks back, which is something that you specifically mentioned, look, I'm sorry about that. Alright? I thought that we had that worked out and resolved, but based on the fact that it got brought up, I kind of have a bit of an inkling that things have not actually been fully resolved from that conflict. So, if there's something more that I need to do, including deleting that video, by the way, I offered that to you before, and that offer still stands. If there's something I need to do, then I'll do it. Because, believe it or not, I am somebody who's familiar with grief. I am somebody who's familiar with loss. Now, I'm not familiar with it in the exact same way that you are. I wouldn't pretend like I am. I never have, and I never will. But the message that I sent to you was one instance, one very, very personal and particular instance of me trying to talk to you about that. And now recently, with the passing of my cousin, I have to experience it all the same. Now, not on the same level. It's never quite the same, quote unquote, when it comes to losing somebody in your family. Nor would I pretend that it is. But for me to hear from you on your stream that, you know, maybe one day when you lose somebody, you have a big loss in your family, then I can make fun of you and say this and say that and say all these other different things about you. Well, Maud, now's the time. That's now. Because, well, I'm not going to pretend like I had the exact same experiences as you. I am going to say overtly that I do know on a very fundamental level what it's like to lose somebody that close and with that level of cherished respect. And you know what? For the sake of trying to prove to you that my intentions are legitimate, for the sake of trying to prove to you that I'm not just doing this as a bit, that I'm not just doing this in order to try and get something out of you, I will step quite far out of my comfort zone and I will talk about it a little bit and delve into it a little bit. So if you were here for me to reveal damaging personal information about Maud, the only person that I'm going to be revealing really personal information about here is myself. Because when I talked to Maud on Messenger, and when I sent her that initial message, what I said was that with my grandfather, my father, unfortunately, he did his best raising me for a while. He did the best that he could. I've made it kind of pretty apparent at this point that I grew up in pretty poor means. Had a pretty poor upbringing. But he was somebody that managed to do a little bit better off for himself. He got himself out of that rut a lot sooner than my mom did. And he ended up taking off with my stepmom to go live in Saskatchewan, which is the next province over, when I was about 14 or 15 years old. No, not 14 or 15, sorry. 13 or 14. Sorry, someone distracted me over there. But anyways, in any case, he didn't do it to, spite me personally. It'd be really silly for me to think that he was trying to do it to spite me. As a matter of fact, my stepmom made it pretty clear that she didn't want to live in Alberta, the province I currently live in right now, anymore. And the reason that she cited was because she doesn't have any family. Doesn't have anybody that she can really relate to all that much out here, besides her immediate family, that being me, my dad, and my two little sisters at that time. So, from about 13 to 14 onward, I maybe saw my dad, I don't know, once or twice a year now, going on about once a year for the past 5 or 6 years now. I've seen my dad very rarely. And my grandfather was the one who fulfilled a lot more of a fatherly role in that stage of my life as a direct result. Because while my dad went on to go pursue other things, he was still around and he gave me a lot of very important guidance in my life. So when he passed away a few years back, pretty soon to when I first started really engaging in the community pretty heavily in terms of going on panels and stuff like that, it totally flipped my life upside down. And I didn't talk about it a whole lot. I kind of went through it my own way, so to speak. But suffice it to say, me going through it my own way was not a good time. Not by any means, not in the slightest. So why do I bring all this up? Well, I bring all this up because this whole fight that me and Maud are in right now started when backstage, me, Maud, Claude, and Big Bad Mama were all talking about Erica Kirk and the topic of her grief came into the conversation. And she essentially tried to tell me that I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to losing somebody. I have no idea what I'm talking about when it comes to grief. And I tried expressing to her in the room that wasn't true. But things got heated, and understandably, she left. So I sent her a message in a lot more detail than what I'm telling you guys right now, mind you. I sent her a message trying to explain what I just explained to you guys. And she never replied to it. She She never got back to me on that. She started messaging me about other stuff and inquiring about my, I don't know about inquiring about my opinion, but sharing unrelated stuff to me. And I gave it a day, but then after she still didn't say anything, I messaged her and said, hey, can you please read the message? Well, actually, that's not even the full timeline, because I actually went on her show. I think it was Midnight Mod or something like that, the same night that we had that incident. And I was completely cool with her, because I figured, you know, if we give it a night, maybe things will have cooled off between us. And, oh no, that's ice, that's not a piece of plastic. And at that point, hopefully, we can kind of move forward. But upon messaging her the next day and asking her if she had taken a look at the message, she'd basically informed me that she wasn't interested in looking at the message. And that she wasn't interested in looking at the message because she wasn't interested in hearing about how I know more about things than her, when that was never what I was even talking about in the first place. So, she never read my message. And I'm not gonna lie to you. When you talk about something that's extremely personal, you open up to somebody about something. And when that person basically brushes you off and gives you the cold shoulder, chances are that might frustrate you a little bit. And suffice it to say, it frustrated me quite a bit. So I didn't make a big scene out of it or anything. I didn't do a live stream trying to talk a bunch of shit on her, nor am I trying to talk a bunch of shit on her right now. But I just blocked her temporarily because I was very frustrated by what had happened. Because, you know what? I know it's like almost a thing that's kryptonite in the YouTube community to admit, because as I've touched upon before, people are almost supposed to be these uncaring, unfeeling robots that never get hurt or affected by anything. But yeah, it hurt me quite a bit to get brushed off after being that open about something. It hurt quite a bit, so I left well enough alone, and I kind of stopped talking to her. And we ceased communications for a few days, and then she started coming around my community and essentially acting very nonchalant, acting like everything was fine and that there wasn't any issue going on. And don't get me wrong, on a certain level, I can appreciate that. I can appreciate the idea that you still want to be friends with me. I can appreciate the idea that we still want to carry on this interpersonal friendship that we have going on. Because I want to as well, believe it or not. But this was an issue that I couldn't just let well enough lie. It wasn't something that I could just let go and pretend like it wasn't a big deal and then just move on. So I told her, you know, the way that she put it on her channel today was that I forced her into a conversation about it. But all that I said to her was, look, I want to be cool with you. I want things to be worked out between us. But until we work out this issue, I just really want to kind of keep my distance. Things are just going to go back to the way that they were, if that's the case. Not because I want it to be the case, not because that was my desire in the slightest, but precisely because I just could not pretend like that thing between us didn't happen. I couldn't just pretend like she didn't just shrug off that issue. And she told me and told other people that she was working things out, that she needed to process things, and that she needed some time before she looked at the message. And you know what? Fair enough. If you need some time before you process the message, I told you myself, deal with it when you're capable of dealing with it. But at the same time, please, don't then come back into my community and and just act like everything is hunky-dory between us, because unfortunately right now it's not. It just plain isn't. So, oh, that's some styrofoam. That's good that I'm taking care of that then. Anyways, if people came here for a giant drama stream where I yell and scream and call Maud every single name in the book, I don't want to do that. I just want to lay everything out on the table as far as I see it. And this was definitely not the format I wanted to do that in. I wanted to have a conversation behind closed doors where we could talk things out like adults and work things out. And even if that the case was that now wasn't the time, so to speak, you know, we could work things out later. That's also fine. I'm also okay with that. But this two-sided approach, and I'm not saying two-faced. I don't think you were trying to be two-faced. I'm not accusing you of that. But this two-sided approach, where on one hand you don't want to acknowledge the conflict between us and what happened, but at the same time you want to still maintain this cordial friendship between us, I just personally can't let that lie. And I was accused of being selfish for that. She said that I was being selfish, and when I told her, point blank, that I was not going to put aside the fact that she had hurt me in that issue, just because it would make her feel better, she told me that, she didn't hurt me. As a matter of fact, she just offended me. It wasn't actual, genuine hurt. And that just took me aback so much. Because if I were to tell you how you felt about a situation, if I were to tell you that you felt a particular way and that you weren't actually hurt by something that I did, for instance, when I talked about you on my stream a little while back, if I were to say, no, I didn't hurt you there, I just offended you, I'm really genuinely asking, do you think that that would go over very well if I had said that to you? No. I don't think it would have. And pardon me for being suspicious enough to venture an educated guess. I think the reason for that is because you understand in your situation that you didn't have any kind of other intention in that moment. I don't think you were. Like I just said a moment ago, I don't think you're being two-faced about any of this. And I think, unfortunately, you just have this really bad suspicion right now that anything and everything that I do is because I have some kind of ulterior motive behind it. Because I actually am trying to stab you in the back, or because I'm trying to play the victim, or because I'm trying to cause drama. And, you know, when it comes to just a regular topic, when it comes to a regular subject, like politics, or interpersonal, like, I don't know, like, whether you think the fucking Patriots are a good team or not, you know? When it comes to stuff like that, I really don't take a big issue, besides just minor annoyance, if you're going to have a super strong opinion about something that you haven't taken the time to fully look into. But, Maud, I think the biggest thing that pissed me off today, out of the stream that happened, was the fact that you kept saying over and over again that this was about Erica Kirk. Oh, Aiden is throwing our friendship away over Erica Kirk. I can't believe it, guys. Isn't that so stupid? And it's like, how can you make such declarative statements like that? How can you definitively say that that's the reason why I'm throwing our friendship away when you couldn't even read, by your own admission, you couldn't even read the message that I sent to you? How is that a fair representation? How is that you really giving your best to make sure that this friendship is intact? Because trust me, all right? when I was pissed off about the fact that you just brushed off that message, I wanted to send you all kinds of messages when I was pissed off. I wanted to call you all kinds of shit, and I didn't. And the reason why I didn't was because, A, it's not going to get us anywhere in terms of establishing any kind of understanding. And B, we've already kind of seen that anytime that we do this, anytime that we have to drag any of this shit out into the public eye for whatever reason, that it doesn't make either one of us have a very good time, does it? Like, did you enjoy talking about the shit that you did on your stream today the way that you did? I don't think so. Do you think I'm enjoying talking about this right now on this stream? No. Neither one of us enjoy what's going on right now, and believe it or not, the only thing that I'm asking for in reading that message, the only thing that I am asking for, is not an apology, not a statement that I'm right about anything. I'm just asking you to read it. Because you said on your show earlier today that you care, and that it was something akin to, what, do you think I just don't even care about your story, that it doesn't matter at all? Of course I don't think that. Because both you and I have taken many an hour to listen to each other's stories, to get to know each other, beyond what just two casual acquaintances on the internet would know about each other. And I'm just talking about like personal life experiences. So it just baffles me. It really does. When you throw around these terms like I just never gave a shit and that it doesn't matter and all that stuff. I just don't get it. I really don't. So, if you think that I'm quote-unquote throwing this friendship away over Erica Kirk or Charlie Kirk or any of that stuff, make no mistake, if indeed this friendship has to get thrown away, it's because you couldn't even be bothered to read a message that I sent to you. That's why it's getting thrown away. Alright? And I acknowledged at the very onset of the stream that if I have any fault here, if I did anything wrong here, and I'm trying to acknowledge my wrongdoing here where it's applicable with what I did to you a few weeks back on my show. And like I told you before, the offer stands. I can either clip the part out of the episode or I could just delete the entire thing. Now, I don't want to delete the entire thing because I think I made some really good points about other topics that weren't related to that on that show, like science's funding in the United States. So I would rather not delete the entire show, but if that's what it takes to show you that I'm not playing at something, if me coming out and talking about a subject that I was extremely uncomfortable talking about and opening myself up to ridicule from all of the people that I know are going to watch that and probably use it to make a whole bunch of specific content against me because of that, if that's what it takes, then so be it. But I just want to try and prove beyond any shadow of a doubt that I'm not playing at anything here. Never really thought of myself as somebody that was known to operate that way, but hey, one's personal perception is always going to be different than reality. So we'll see. I'm sure that you're more than likely watching this right now, Mod, and that's fine. I just want you to think about this, not in terms of, oh, our friendship is over because Aiden decided to make a hullabaloo about something political. No. I tried to tell you something that was deeply personal, and you threw it back in my face. And I recall you saying something along the lines of, well, how could I have thrown it back in your face? I didn't even read it. That's precisely how you threw it back in my face. That's precisely how you threw it back in my face. Not even bothering to just acknowledge the things that I said. When, if it was just a regular ass message I sent to you about nothing in particular, whatever, no big deal, right? Water off a duck's back. But that's not what this was. Not in the slightest. So, whatever. How's everybody out there in the chat? I hope everybody out in the chat is doing alright so far. If you want to leave a like on this stream, you don't have to by any means. But if you would like to drop a like on the stream, I would appreciate it. I don't really have a hell of a lot to talk about right now, guys, honestly, because the main reason I'm out here right now is for the same reason that I talked about before. Because getting out and doing things out in the real world can make one hell of a difference when you're going through a bunch of shit. And trust me, stuff that I outlined on this stream is not the sum total of it. Because is what anybody talks about on the internet the sum total of their problems? I don't think so. I think it's pretty easy to say that everybody out there has got their own struggles going on that you would rather not have anybody know about whatsoever, and that's fine. But I just wish when it's saying, make no mistake, right here and now, I acknowledge fully that what you're going through is awful, Steph. It's terrible. And I've always said that. But when you say that you're going through hell and you're stressed and you have all these other things going on, I mean, I'm sorry to say it, but you're not the only one that that's happening to. And while I doubt that you're really genuinely operating on the basis that you think that you're the only one that this is happening to, that is the impression that I sometimes get when you do things like this, unfortunately. But you're not the only one that's gone through grief. You're not the only one that's gone through a horrible loss like this. Because I'm going through the ringer right now, and does that invalidate your experiences? No, not at all. But yours most certainly do not invalidate mine either. So I just wish that respect, you know, it's something that we talked about before, respect. It's a very thorough topic that got explored at one point. And believe it or not, I do respect you. I do respect you. I respect you as a person. I respect you as a friend. And when it comes to our interpersonal, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this debris, guys. Hold on. Hold on. There we go. I got it. How bad was the splashback on my phone? Hold on. I got to double check. Let's assess the damage real quick here, guys. Oh, boy. These gloves are filthy. Goodness gracious. I'm going to have to switch out at some point soon here if I keep this up. But I respect the fact that you're going through hell right now. And I have spent many an hour trying to understand what you were going through. All I was asking for was just a scant few minutes for you to be able to try and understand what I was going through, and to try and relate in the same way that I have related and empathized with you. And I'm not gonna lie, when I first left the museum today, and when I was planning on doing a stream, my initial thoughts, hold on. My initial thoughts, sorry guys, my audio disconnected there for a second, were that I was going to make a giant frickin' angry, vindictive stream where I call you this and I call you that and I call you all these other names, because I am angry right now. But it's not a productive usage of my anger. It's not a productive usage of my frustration. It's better that I try to take that frustration and try to turn it into some means of A, productivity through motivating myself to get out here and clean things up, and B, try to take some of that frustration and turn it into, I don't know if understanding is the right word, but I don't know, some means of trying to resolve what's going on right now. Finally, Pre got him to wear gloves, that's right. Well, I'll tell you right now, Odin, if I came home with my hands looking like this, like I did on the first garbage stream, I think Brianna might have some serious issues. Some serious issues. Sorry, let me just lisp really hard there. Some serious issues. Oy. So I think I pretty thoroughly explored things from my perspective, and I just want to be unequivocal here at the very end. If indeed this is the end of me talking about this, Steph, I don't hate you. I never have hated you. I don't wish any ill will on you. I hope things work out for you. I hope you get out of what you describe yourself as this slump that you're going through right now. I hope that you do. I just wish you would be a little bit more considerate, because okay, there's one more thing, as Steve Jobs would say. It wasn't even the fact that you came in and acted all friendly once that was any kind of issue, because like I said earlier, that was awesome. The fact that you were trying to make it clear that you wanted to kind of heal things, I thought that was great. But I hope that was like the onset of you actually, if not reading that message, then at least telling me, hey, I just really can't read that right now. I just have a lot going on. I don't want to get into that right now. But at the same time, can we try to move on? You know, if she had said that to me even, that would have been a lot better. But I had informed you once that I wanted to try and be, and move on from the issue by dealing with the underlying problem first, before we actually fully moved on. I told you that, and then you came back and acted all friendly again. A second time, after I had informed you the first time. And, oh, there was one more thing. You seemed confused about why I said, how dare you bring that up. Well, it was because you brought up my grandfather. And as soon as you did that, it got me quite upset. Because I thought I'd made it pretty clear in that message that, albeit you didn't read, that up until the point where I had just kind of blasted it out to everybody right here and now, I thought I'd made it pretty clear that I didn't want anything of that nature getting leaked out whatsoever. So that was what pissed me off. That was what set me off. And no, I was not, in fact... That's a rock, by the way. That's a nice rock. It's like a stone of some kind. Anyways, I didn't say that as an excuse to come on and talk a bunch of shit about you. I said that because it was something that was deeply personal to me. So, I'm basically, my stance on this entire issue has not changed, right? I want to be friends with you. I do want to move on from the issues and conflicts that we've been having, but I am not going to be able to move on with any kind of closure if we can't deal with these issues that I just talked about right here, on the stream in front of everybody. Because unfortunately, with the hope that you're watching this right now, this was the only way that I would be able to lay that out to you. Because trying to come to you in private and talk to you about it clearly didn't get anywhere. So whatever, if this was what was needed in order to hopefully push things forward and get over whatever fucking slump this is that exists between us, then so be it. Because I'd rather a bunch of weirdos online make fun of me and come up with a bunch of material surrounding what I just talked about on the stream. I'd rather them do that than not be friends with you anymore. Because believe it or not, I actually value our friendship quite a bit. I really do. All the times that you were talking about that, oh, this might be the last time that we ever speak to each other because this, that, or the other event might happen just in everyday discourse. I'm aware. I'm aware of all of that, and I acknowledge that it would suck if that was the case. If the last things that we ever said to each other was something in anger, you know? That would really suck. I acknowledge that fully. I don't want that to be the case. But it just depends on how things move forward. So that's all I had to say on that regard. How's my phone battery doing? I'm on 71%, okay. Looks like I'll be able to make a fair bit of progress here. Ladies and gentlemen, please like the stream. We're having Family Feud again. Ever debated Mormons before? That's an interesting question. I don't think he has. I don't know. Re-examination. If you're still out there, you should answer that question, because I'm curious now. We've been making pretty good progress with this garbage bag, though, guys. Picked up a fair bit of trash. Got this little ribbon of plastic right here. And then, oh my goodness, look at this. This is by far the nicest thing that I have found so far. Look at that. Grey Goose vodka. My. I'll tell you what. When it comes to like malt whiskey or like scotch or something like that, when it comes to something like that, I think that spending extra money on a good bottle is a good idea. But when it comes to vodka, it tastes exactly the same, no matter what price point you go to, so why? And I've had Grey Goose a few times. Like, it's tasty, quote unquote, as far as vodka goes, but you know what that taste is? It's like drinking a refined water, you know? Like, the difference in actual taste is so subtle that it's not worth the massive premium that you pay at all, at least in my opinion. But anyways, I asked before, I'll ask again. If you have not yet liked the stream, ladies and gentlemen, please drop a like on the stream. It would be much appreciated. Got a decent amount of trash here. Oh, hold on. What is this? Oh, it's a bunch of zip ties. You know, I have half a mind to keep those. But they're so filthy, and zip ties are so cheap, that I'm not going to do that. Because I'm not quite at that level of poverty yet. However, I also have half a mind to leave them here, because maybe somebody else would make use of them. However, I'm pretty sure I saw those in the alley the last time that I was here, cleaning up trash. So, if they've been sitting here for a few days, I will make the presumption that nobody wants them. Oh, we got a couple things over here as well. Get all of this this picked up. There we go. Alrighty. In any case, I'll pick up as many of them as I can find. Because this, stuff like this, it's like prime microplastic breakdown material. I'd keep the zip ties. That's the reason that I'm terrible at cleaning trash. It's more like treasure hunting to me. I examine every single item that I pick up, try to imagine how it got there. Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some interesting items that I've found around here that you can't help but wonder, you know? How the hell did that get there? What happened with that? Grey goose as well, like, I don't know. Maybe somebody that's in that house that actually owns it left that grey goose behind, but maybe somebody ended up securing themselves a nice bottle one area night and ended up leaving it behind where they drank it. Wouldn't be the first time that I've seen something like that. I've seen Hennessy bottles in the back alley as well, which is pretty funny. If anybody knows what the price of Hennessy is, to imagine if somebody was just drinking that in a back alley somewhere. It's not very economically efficient, you know? It's nice liquor, don't get me wrong. And cognac, that's another thing as well. That's something that's worth it. If you want to spend the extra money on a good cognac, then I think you're actually getting your money's worth. But vodka? Nah. As a matter of fact, I'm pretty sure from my very limited understanding of Grey Goose, let me just move out of the way for this vehicle. But I'm pretty sure from my very limited understanding of Grey Goose that they specifically targeted this, like, quote-unquote high-end alcohol market for vodka because it basically didn't exist. Because why would you make expensive vodka if it all tastes the same? But that just goes to show that if you have good marketing, I suppose you can, in fact, sell sand to an Arabic individual, because for whatever reason Arab is something you can't say anymore. I'm gonna put this in there because that is a table leg. That is something that's ridiculous. Like, alright, if you say like Arab or something like that, that's probably like the closest argument you could make for like, oh, that has racial overtones. But just saying Arab, that's problematic? No, I don't think so. We got some bags here. And once again, like, do I keep them? I'm thinking about keeping them. These aren't even that bad. They're just a little dirty. Like, these could totally get washed. Did you steal my vodka bottle? Was that you? I didn't realize that you were had such refined taste, Achilles. I didn't realize you drank Grey Goose. Interesting. Interesting choice for a high-end liquor. I have a little bit, speaking of my grandfather, by the way, while I'm on the topic, I have a bottle of, like, almost 20-year-old Glenfiddich. It's a single malt scotch that he ended up giving me. I only have a couple fingers left on it, but I save that for very special occasions. I pour myself just a little bit because we always had just a little bit out of that bottle every single time we saw each other for the last, I don't know, year and a half that I was able to go out and visit him. He got a nice bottle of Glenfiddich and he said, yeah, we're gonna have just a little bit of that every time you come out. And we enjoyed the shit out of that bottle, let me tell you that. There's only just a little bit left, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a tough day when I run out of that. When I get down to my last little bit on that bottle, yeah, that day is going to be, that's going to be rough. Because, I don't know. It's similar to, man, let me tell you, if I could give you a synopsis of his life and all the experiences that he had throughout his life, it could fill a novel, and I know it could fill a novel because through countless prodding and insistence on my end, I got him to write down a compilation of his life stories. And I've read a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, I've read a lot of them. But I haven't read all of them yet. And the reason why I haven't read all of them is because, I don't know, you almost get this sense that once you've read the last story that he had to write for you, that there's almost nothing left to be said between you two. Even if, in fact, it's not in fact him speaking to me in any kind of real time, it's still nonetheless something from him that I've never heard before. And in a sense, that kind of does feel like an unspoken conversation that I haven't had with him yet. So, you know, one day I would love to be able to just kind of get over my fear as far as that's concerned and read all of them, because I want to know all of those stories. I want to know what he had to say about all of those different topics, about all those events that happened in his life. It's not a lack of desire to know those things that prevents me. It's fear, is what it is. It's a lot of fucking fear. And unfortunately, that's a big part of grieving, is you almost deal with things in different stages when it comes to that shit. Because if you do deal with it all at once, if you do try to tackle all that shit all at once, it absolutely can and will just completely overwhelm you and render you a complete mess. Because when you lose your role model in life, when you lose the person that you have learned more from by far than any other individual in your life, who did more to mold and shape your understanding of morality, of society, of decency, of respect. When you lose somebody that's that much of a fundamental guidepost of your life, you find yourself feeling more alone in that moment than you really ever have in your life. And there's no real way that you can be ready for it either. There's no way you can prepare yourself for it, no matter how much, I had the good fortune with my grandfather of knowing for a good while, for a couple of years, that things were not going well with him, and I wasn't going to have a hell of a lot of time with him anymore. So I had the good fortune of at least knowing that, but even then, it's not like no matter how many times you kind of told yourself that this is probably going to be the last time you see him, it's not like you suddenly just click that in your mind and go, oh yeah, right, now I understand, now it all makes sense. No. It's never how that kind of shit works out. So, when it comes to Jess, my cousin, like I said before, one of the reasons why it doesn't hit the same as my grandfather is because none of those deaths ever hit the same. But another reason is because we didn't really have that kind of warning like I did with my grandfather. As a matter of fact, when she went through her first issue and had to go through physiotherapy in order to learn how to walk again, we kind of largely resolved ourselves to the fact that, yeah, she went through some horrible things there, but the worst of it is over now. We can start looking forward to better times ahead. And that's not what happened at all. It was quite the opposite, unfortunately. She ended up, from the time that she first ended up in the ICU to the time that she ended up passing, it was maybe a day and a half. And unlike the previous incident that had happened with her, where I was at least able to go and visit her, I quite literally did not have the time in my schedule to be able to make that work. So now, there's that awesome feeling of, well, what if you had forced there to be time, What if you had known somehow that things were going to escalate that quickly? Because did her prospects not look good? Yeah, they didn't look good, but they didn't look like she only had 24 to 48 hours left. Not good. That's for damn sure. I thought that I was at least going to get one more opportunity to be able to see her before things happen. But I didn't. And that's just how the fucking cookie crumbles sometimes, ladies and gentlemen. That's life, unfortunately. Anyways, I've said it before, but I guess it bears repeating. I do want to try and get these hedges done while I have the option, because when they get all grown in, once it gets warmer, I won't be able to find any of the trash that's lurking around. Oh, that's a bird feather, that's nice. But I won't be able to find any of the trash once that becomes the case. Is this? Nope. That is not a piece of plastic. That is a bunch of snow. This, however, certainly is a piece of plastic. Anyways, I don't have too much more to say, honestly, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what the hell I'm going to be doing. Part of me wants to take a break. Part of me wants to walk things back. Part of me wants to just keep doing things the way that I have been. And just keep on chugging along. But I really don't know at this point what I'm going to do. I think at least stepping back from things a little bit might be a good idea. What's that going to take the form of? Who knows? It could be me just not doing much streams at all. It could be me doing more of this kind of content as opposed to political commentary. I really don't know. Because this is a pretty fucking topsy-turvy portion of my life right now, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty topsy-turvy indeed. Oh wow, is this from Halloween? Jesus. He's been out here for a hot minute. Let's get that put in the bag. In all seriousness, I'm sorry for your loss, and thank you for examination. I appreciate it. Yeah. I don't really know if there's too much more to deal with around here. I think I ended up getting this area pretty well cleared out. Oh, hold on. There's a couple pieces of trash over here. Get those put away. So, I guess I'll reiterate what I said before one more time. I hope we can eventually move on with things, Mod. I just need us to work out this problem before we can move on with things, and you can call that selfish, you can call it whatever you'd like to call it, but them's the breaks. I just can't compromise on that. I can't. I don't need you to agree with me. I don't need you to apologize. I don't need you to do anything of the sort. I don't want anything except just a basic acknowledgement of my experiences, because I'm sorry to say, but right now I get the very distinct impression that you are doing everything in your power to invalidate every single thing that I have been saying to you for the past while in any way possible. And that's just not sustainable for a friendship. It's really not. Had no idea where this stream was going, dude. If you thought I had any idea, for the most part, I really fucking didn't. I just wanted to speak straight from the heart and just kind of give my unfiltered assessment of the situation. So, there it is. I think I laid it out pretty well. And obviously, if Maud watches this, she's probably going to disagree with a whole bunch of what I said. And that's fine. But I only ask that before she comes to a conclusion about what I said here, that she thinks it over. Because I really don't want there to be any issue between the two of us anymore. I don't. It's stupid. It's dumb. It doesn't benefit either of us a whit. So let's try and work this out. Or don't. It's up to you. It's your choice. But, in any case, ladies and gentlemen, I think I am going to get this bag tied up here once I am done with my second sweep. I am finding the occasional bit and bob here, though, that could still get picked up. So, I am glad that I kind of came back and did a second sweep. This was definitely not fully taken care of, unfortunately. Right here. Right over here as well. There we go. Sorry, I lost my audio there for another second. Allow me to be what has been referred to as a like-ho for just one moment. And beseech you fine folk out there in the chat, once again, if you have not given this stream a like, please do so. It would be much appreciated. Still got 50% on my phone, which is a pleasant surprise. It means that I might be able to cover a little bit more ground today. I think the fact that the temperature isn't absolutely freaking abysmal right now makes that not a coincidence as far as how long the battery can last. But I'll take it. For sure. Alright. Get all of that. Nope, that's... Wait, is that garbage? No, I think that is not in fact garbage. Alright. On we plow. Nope, not through the giant death puddle that is inevitably going to have my phone dropped into it. No thank you. This. Not garbage, just snow. Whew. All right. I think that is just about everything dealt with. So it is at this point that after I clean this little bit up, at least assuming that that's garbage and not... Nope, that's snow. That, however, is not snow. And that is not snow either. See? See, it was a good thing that we came back through here. We got a whole bunch more on the second run through than we would have if we would have just done one pass through here. This is good. I wish you guys could feel how heavy the bag is, because let me tell you, if there's anything that's satisfying about doing these kind of streams, it's feeling the massive heft of the bag when it's full to the brim with garbage that isn't gonna pollute the fucking neighborhood anymore. That's the most satisfying part of these streams by far, in my opinion. No, that's ice. I think I already tried grabbing that earlier, actually. Yeah, this bag can definitely get dealt with. Damn, this is full. One of these isn't going to be full, though. Come on. Damn. Okay. What about this one? This is probably going to be our best one. Because, unfortunately, I would remove this garbage bag just straight up from the area, but it's got a bunch of holes in it, so I don't think it's going to survive for very long. So I gotta put it in a bin where it's at least not going to burst open and literally undo all of the progress that I just made. So that would be a little less than ideal, if you ask me. Grab all this stuff. All right. Oh. this bit as well. Grab that. Alrighty. Almost done, guys. Almost done. Now this smaller stuff I can put in my garbage. Because my concern is that, like, on one level, I don't want to fill some random person who didn't cause this litter's garbage with bags. But at the same time, if it's either that or these bags inevitably burst open and cause an even bigger problem, then yeah, I am going to choose that option of putting it in the other bins. Now I do think I can hold, oh boy, you know what? I actually have a suspicion this might be something that could be put in the recycling, but without knowing for sure, I'm not going to assume. No matter what it is, it can get dealt with if it's in the garbage bin. Now this, I think, is actual organic food waste. Oh yeah. Yeah, that is organic food waste right there, which means it can go in the green bin. Gross. Yeah, all kinds of stuff. All kinds. Unfortunately. But it's looking better than before. That's for sure. We're gonna put these two things together. Grab all of this. Oh, this isn't snow, is it? This is another bag. Ah, oh, damn it. And it's open. Oh no. Is that just snow? I think it might just be snow. I hope that's just snow. I hope that's not a whole bunch of pieces of plastic that I'm gonna subsequently have to deal with. That'd be rather unfortunate. Son of a bitch, so it is. Oh, only a couple pieces were. Only a couple pieces. Thank God. What do you mean, thank God? I thought you didn't believe in any religion. Oh, okay, sorry, my bad. Thank the non-corporeal universe and good vibes thereof. Is that better? Does that work out better? Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen. I think that's going to be just about everything that we can fit in this bag without it itself ripping apart here. So, give me just one moment here. I'm going to put you in my pocket. We're going to have a famous Aiden pocket stream moment. I'm here now. You can go ahead and get started. Sorry, Phantom. You're a little late for me to get started. Sorry to say. Alright, you're getting put in my pocket for now, though, because I got to tie this bag up. Pocket stream, it's time for an Aiden pocket stream. It even has Jonty's theme, pocket stream, pocket stream. Come on, gloves. This is the problem when you double glove, is that the second glove layer never wants to cooperate. What I do is I get rid of the outer gloves at the very end, and I keep the inner gloves until I've got the garbage home. That way, I can have gloves that are much less filthy to handle my phone while I'm getting the stream shut down. But I'm still not completely ungloved. See? Huh? Pretty clever. Pretty clever. Alright. Now this glove just needs to cooperate. But in a shocking turn of fate, truly shocking, ladies and gentlemen, it actually doesn't want to cooperate. And why doesn't it want to cooperate? Because I put the wrong finger in the wrong finger spot. That's why. Also, because I'm trying to put the thumb into the pinky slot. That would also hinder proper glove placement. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I have managed to discover how to properly operate a pair of gloves. Aren't you proud? And in classic pocket stream fashion, what happens? I have way more viewers, 2 or 3 of which immediately leave as soon as I leave the pocket. Maybe I'll just, you know what, guys? We're going to do the rest of the stream from the pocket. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that. I just need to tie up the bag properly now and get this bag carried back to my place. Alrighty. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you have not already liked the stream, I will kindly ask at this point that you do so. It would be much appreciated. I'm going to be shutting down right away here, I think. Don't have too much to really talk about at this particular point. What is this? What do we have here? Oh boy, alright, that can get dealt with. There we go. 10 likes, not bad. Not bad at all. Re-examination, not bad in the slightest. Not that I'm out here for the likes, it's just a nice little dopamine hit. Let's be honest. In these trying times, a little dopamine hit goes a long way, ladies and gentlemen. It's better than smoking crack, am I right? Maybe not. Maybe not better than smoking crack. I'm sure if you ask most people who smoke crack, they would probably say it's a little bit better than getting a like on a YouTube live stream. I don't know. Anyways, I'm heading home now, ladies and gentlemen. Please have a good rest of your day and take care. Bye-bye.